a dude like PJ Black or Justin Gabriel, as you might know him as, has a really good outlook on life. And he gets into the reason why he walked away from WWE. And he talks about a lot of stuff. He talks about getting into professional wrestling and debuting at 16, traveling around the world at such a young age, getting a developmental deal and all the stress that went on with that, the frustration of being a contracted WWE employee, what he's doing now. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff. He dropped some gems, and I think it's real inspirational. It's a little cold outside right now, and especially on the East Coast, a lot of us are not really doing much. We're staying indoors, and I think listening to this interview might give us all a little pep in our step. Hopefully it does the same thing for you. I know PJ was injured for some time in 2017, so I hope he has a speedy recovery. I know he injured, I think, his ankle or something, cliff diving or splunking or something extreme, because we get into that as well. So we're sending that dude some love and some light, and hopefully his injury isn't too threatening where it takes him out of professional wrestling for longer than it does. But real cool dude. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at PJ450 on the Instagram and Darewolf333 on the Twitter.
Oh, yeah!
No wonder the chicks dig me.
Dude, you have an accent. That is just automatically panty dropper. Yeah, you're winning. That's moisturizer saturation in the panty.
Yep. I don't do too bad.
Do you use your accent for saturation purposes?
I'm gonna lie if I say no. I do sometimes.
Yeah. You put it on even stronger.
Even stronger. Yeah, totally. And sometimes when I try to lay it on thick, it comes out completely wrong. It comes out like almost like a British, like a James Bond version, which is cool too.
Well, which type of James Bond? Is it the Pierce Brosnan or is it the Roger Moore James Bond?
That's kind of like a Sean Connery James Bond.
Outside of New York, women gravitate towards my vocal tones.
Right.
But here, we just sound like every other fucking guy.
You work in radio, so you must have a good voice.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes I hear that I'm too Staten Island-ish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
Just imagine like the Bronx Tale and all those Italian stereotypes, Godfather,
right.
Goodfellas, all those
right
Italian stereotypes.
Okay.
So I have to scale back my voice.
Not like the Guidos, though.
I mean, I've been called one. I used to be one.
Right.
I had the spiky hair and the orange skin, and I was about 75 pounds heavier. I used to wear Guinea t-shirts and crosses and that little Italian horn.
Right.
Every other word out of my mouth was, how you doing? I was pretty much Enzo Amore. If you wanna kick him,
dude, one of my favorite characters right now.
I tell him all the time, I'm like, you are me and everybody I went to high school with.
He's so good.
One person.
So good.
But I'm so glad that you came here, man. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So for those
let me just say this. You do not have a face for radio.
Oh, thank you. You're calling me handsome. Thank you. Nice. The handsome South African fellow is calling me handsome. I appreciate that. We're going to be best friends now, PJ Black. And that's who I have in the studio with me today. PJ Black, formerly known as Justin Gabriel.
Yep.
And it's weird because when I was telling people that you were coming up here, they were like, who's PJ Black? And then I'm like, Justin Gabriel. Is it still a weird transition to go through because that company rebrands you, they make you a whole new person, and this is like you're an existential being now known as Justin Gabriel?
I think I'll be forever known as Justin Gabriel. I mean, that's the name they gave me. That's the name that kind of made me famous. But a lot of people don't know this. 10 years before that, I was actually PJ Black. I was PJ Black when I was 15 years old, starting to work the indies, and PJ Black will always be a part of me. And now I get to show people who PJ Black is, and he's a total different character, total different person.
Okay, so you grew up in South Africa.
Yep.
My only knowledge of South Africa besides apartheid is Lethal Weapon 2.
Pretty good movie.
That's it. That's all I know. And I just always thought, oh my God, South Africans that have diplomatic immunity are evil.
Right.
Like, you have that accent, and too bad we don't have the script. I would have printed it out, and we could have did a whole scene.
That would have been hilarious.
I could have played Mel Gibson. I could have said Rog.
I can hook you up with some diamonds and gold if you want.
So let's talk, man. Let's talk growing up on the shores of South Africa. Obviously, there had to be some surf involved.
I grew up surfing.
Did you really?
I grew up surfing. I surfed my whole life up until I was about 17, 18. I moved inland to live with my dad. My parents were divorced when I was really young, blah, 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 which made me go to a wrestling school at the age of like 16. And yeah, I've been wrestling ever since.
What drove you to surfing? It was just the culture thing? Because I've always wanted to do it, and I tried it, and I got the shit kicked out of me doing it.
It was a culture thing. I lived right on the beach, one of the best surf spots in my area, and it was just a thing. Like, me and my friends, we started going to the beach, we started surfing, we started getting good at it, started doing competitions, starting going on surf trips, and eventually I just started living at the beach. Like, my principal would come pick me up at the beach, and he'd be like, "Hey, you got to go to school." So I'd sit in class with my wetsuit on, and I just hated school. I hated every single day of it.
Did you finish or no?
I did. Funny story. I got a master's degree, actually.
In what?
In sports science.
Oh, is that like kinesiology and stuff?
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Something I'll never ever use.
Don't say that.
I was actually thinking of getting my PhD just so people can call me Dr. Black, which is funny because Dr. Black is actually the WWE drug testing doctor, which will make it bittersweet.
I think you should do that. All right, so 16, you started wrestling because you moved with your pop.
Yep.
Now, you're a second-generation superstar.
Right.
Something that not a lot of people know, or it wasn't even common knowledge when you were working with Connecticut.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about your dad. How was that relationship with that?
Man, he was my best friend. We did everything together. And, like, my mom was the kind of strict one. My dad was the cool one. We could kind of relate. He took me to my first nightclub when I was like 13. He told the bouncer that I was a midget. That's the type of dude he was. He never drank or smoked or anything. He was just a fucking cool dude. We got on really well. When I was 18, he got shot. We lived in a real dangerous area. Something I don't really talk about too often, but, it happened, and, like, my whole world just crashed after that. And I kind of like packed a backpack, moved to Europe. I had like $50 in my pocket, and yeah. Do you want to hear more about that story?
Yeah, you have the most amazing life ever. We'll talk about wrestling in a minute, but okay. So your father passes away.
Yep.
And you're like, all right, I'm done. I'm fried. I got to get out of here for a little while. I've been dealing with this notion now that your parents are not just people that raise you, wipe your nose, wipe your ass, and then, kick you out of the house at a specific age. They actually have lives, and they have personalities, and, they had something before you were even created or even a thought of. Mm-hmm. And I got extremely close with my father once he retired, and him and I hit it off even more. And I always knew that he was a man, but I knew that he was a person after just having, like, certain circumstances go down in my life, and I questioned a whole bunch of things. Where I was going, what am I doing? Is this building the right building for me? Did I waste like 10 years doing this and all this other stuff? And then he sat me down and he told me these stories about how he found my mom and what he did for a living before he did construction and all these other things. So I sat back and I was like, how come I didn't know about this when I was younger? How come I'm only finding about this now? Like at 30, I'm 32. So now it's like that 2 years we became even extremely close.
He was waiting for the right time.
And I think that was the truth.
Yeah.
But obviously you had that ridiculously young.
Totally. So my parents got divorced when I was really young, I think 2 years old. And so I got to go visit my dad, school holidays and stuff like that, which I got to travel on the road with him because he was nonstop wrestling, which was great because I got to hang out in the locker room and I kind of just picked up like the wrestling lingo and how to put matches together and all kinds of stuff. One day when I was like 13, he didn't have anyone to referee a couple of matches. So I was like a 13-year-old boy. I was like, I know the rules. I was like, and he just threw me in there. And yeah, I guess I've been working ever since I was 13. See, I moved in with him when I was 16, 2 years to the day. When I was 18, he got shot. I never used to be a guy that used to believe that everything happens for a reason. But when that happened, I believe that everything happens for a reason, because I know he went out happy. That's one thing he wanted really bad. And I wish you could have seen me now, but I know that he was happy those last 2 years.
So after he got shot, you decided to just pick up and leave?
Basically, I packed a backpack. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my family. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to, just go do some soul searching. So I've been wrestling for 2 or 3 years. I've been on full-time on the road while trying to juggle school at the same time. But I was finishing school, and I completely quit everything. I didn't go to college at the time. I didn't go to school. Everyone wanted me to take over my dad's company too. Yeah. And I was like, I'm an 18-year-old kid. What do I know of business? I don't know nothing. So I basically just packed this backpack, disappeared, didn't tell anybody. Backpacked through Europe for a while, kind of got stuck in a few places. My mom constantly telling me, oh, you'll never make it as a wrestler. You'll never make it as a wrestler. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll go to college. I'll finish college just to make her happy, So I got my degree, got my master's degree. And, funny story. I walked into an indie wrestling show. And AJ Styles was wrestling Johnny Storm. And as I walked in, I was like, man, why did I ever quit this? I started wrestling the next day. So 4 years of not taking bumps or doing anything. And I thought it'd be like riding a bike. I didn't pick it up immediately. It took me like probably a year. It was like starting from scratch, dude.
The $50 in your pocket, what did you do to make ends meet? Could 50 stretch back in those days? What I mean? Like 50 up here, you would have been broke in 20 minutes.
I flew to London, bought a train ticket to Scotland. I went, where is the furthest place away by train? And they went, it's a 6-hour train ride. So I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I can figure my life out in 6 hours.
Yeah.
The train ticket was like $44.
Oh, nice. That's good.
So,
good,
yeah, good. Now I'm broke, totally broke.
Yeah.
That was the longest 6 hours of my life. I was just sitting there contemplating, and I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I got off the train, and I just stood there at the train station with my backpack, and I actually slept at the train station that night. The next day, I don't know why, but I walked into this hotel, and I was like, I need a job. And they're like, hey, can you do this? I don't even remember what they said. And I was like, yeah, of course I can do that. So I kind of started working in the kitchen of this hotel, kind of worked my way up, started working in the dining room. Then I became a chef, and then I was a bartender. I was just doing everything. Basically took it from there, man. I had so many different odd jobs that it's unreal. Ended up working in a gym because I wanted to wrestle on weekends when I got back into it, and a huge blur, most of those.
I can imagine, the whole sleeping on the train station thing.
Yeah, so
is something a little that I would never do in New York because I'm not trying to sleep in Grand Central because I'll get mugged by a homeless person or a rat, whatever comes first. But I give you credit. You are a ballsy dude, man, from Jump Street. You know what I mean? The fact that you even put yourself through college was crazy, too. So how did you juggle college and getting back into pro wrestling when you saw AJ Styles?
Okay, so kind of worked my way up. I got a really cool job as a cocktail bartender, juggling bottles.
Oh, were you doing the Tom Cruise thing?
I was doing that, but I had no idea what I was doing. But I figured out, if people are entertained, it's kind of like wrestling. If people are entertained, I mean, they don't care what the drinks taste like. If they're entertained and they get drunk, great.
So you're just throwing bottles and catching shit?
I still have no idea how to make a pina colada. I was just pouring shit into a glass, pouring it into a blender. People were having fun. I was making them laugh. I was making balloon animals at a stage. I was like, what has my life come to?
Making balloon animals and getting you drunk.
Yep.
Hi, I'm PJ Black.
That was my life, Monday to Friday, and then I enrolled in this college. They were going to kick me out of the country too, because that's another thing. I struggle getting visas for anywhere because I have an African passport. It's considered a third world country. So they were going to kick me out of the country. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to college. And they were like, no, the only way you can get a student visa is if you study something in IT, in computers. So I went to just the nearest IT school, signed up for some computer class just so I can go to sports science college. So I got my degree there, and I had like 6 months left. And I was like, you know what? I paid for that course. I might as well finish it. So, and it was free internet, and there was girls there and everything. So I did that for 2 hours a day while working 10-hour shifts every day, and then I could fit in one wrestling match on Sundays. Yeah. That's all I could do. I basically wrestled one match every Sunday, sometimes only once a month for 3 or 4 or 5 years.
So what were you doing? Were you doing HTML or binary code?
I was doing graphic design at the time.
Yeah. Oh, so you were just tricking out bitches' MySpace pages too back in the day. You had to. You're like, fuck these glittery GIF things. Let me do the back end. Yeah.
Photoshopped everything. Photoshopped myself on posters and shit.
PJ Black, you are a man of 1,000 hats, sir.
Thank you very much.
So when did the wrestling become the full time? Was it after graduation?
After I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to do. My mom was happy because I finished school.
You got the degree.
Yeah, she was happy. She was stoked, man. I eventually got kicked out of the country. I had to go back.
Because of the visa, right?
Of the visa.
Yeah.
So 5 years was a long time, like overstayed by like 2 years or whatever.
Isn't it weird though, England as well, because you like the language there, it's even though it's English, like the lexicon and the cadence is completely different.
Completely different.
Things like if you're talking to a girl there and you call her like baby or sweetie or honey or something, they're totally think it's disrespectful.
I know, and they have so many different slang words too. They call them birds and like, and it's like that anywhere in the country. Like a lot of words that are quite funny over there are very insulting in this country, which I found out the hard way.
Did you have any trouble with like slang when you were trying to pick up the biddies, when you were doing the Tom Cruise Cocktail and Dreams like balloon animal shtick?
Oh yeah, and I got away with it all the time because people just thought I was nuts, and I kind of like just went along with it. And I was like, yeah, I'm just that crazy dude, you know, like.
Now you graduated, you got kicked out of the country.
Yep.
Okay, so now you go back home.
Now I go back to South Africa. No idea what to do because I left when I was 18, so I don't exist on paper.
It changed.
Yeah, I have no credit. I have no bank account. I have no driver's license. I have nothing.
So that means you're living back in mom's house.
No, I refuse to.
Okay.
I refuse to. I moved to Johannesburg where my dad got shot. Most dangerous area in the world, actually. And I was like, you know what? I know this area. I can probably get a job at a gym. Fake my CV, like I ended up working in this gym. It took me a while to pay off some loans and stuff, and I made some friends, and I gambled, made some money, owed a lot of people a lot of money, paid it back. I made sure when I left.
So you were in the underbelly of the Johannesburg crime world, pretty much. That's what you're telling me.
I wouldn't say crime world, but I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of.
Were you a male prostitute? Were you taking out chicks in hotels and whining and dining them because their husbands did not love them?
Not prostitute, but you
were a gigolo.
I did that. You know, it was easy money.
You are my idol because a woman stopped me on 42nd Street and gave me her card, and she was like, "You're handsome. We can charge $5,000 a stroke. What do you want to do?" And I was like, "My mother would kick me in the dick, so I cannot be a male prostitute or an escort or whatever you want me to do. Oh, you just have to go to functions. One guy goes to Carnegie Hall with some woman to go see like opera. All you'd have to do is wear a tux."
I got to tell you a funny story. Adam Rose is gonna hate this. Okay, so we broke into the business together. We were a tag team at the time, and we were both skinny kids. We were 18. It was like right before my dad passed away, and we were wearing this like baggy silver glitter pants, like, and these like see-through red net tank tops. And I got him to go to raves at the time, right?
That's total rave outfit. Man.
Yeah, totally. So we would wrestle, tag team, called Pure Juice, by the way. Which I still tell people PJ stands for.
Yeah, Pure Juice.
So we'd wrestle the show like 2-3 hours from my hometown, whatever, and go straight to the rave in our wrestling outfits.
And you fit right in.
Wrestling boots, knee pads, yeah, and we fit right in. And people were like, "Wow, you guys are great." And you know how many fucking gigolo gigs we got from these raves?
I can imagine.
So we started like we just did everything, like wrestling and like eventually. I don't even want to tell you what other stuff we did.
I can imagine. I think the listeners could imagine what you were doing. It's all right. We don't got to go there. But as long as you were a gigolo, that's cool because that has crossed my path.
Right.
I turned it down. But at the rave stuff, too, when I was going to raves at 15, 16 years old, I was getting DJ gigs from some of those things.
Oh, it was easy money.
It was totally stupid. Yeah. It was just like, here, have fun. Here, play this, play that. Boom. Like, you know, they're going to be on drugs to begin with anyway. So even if you suck, don't worry about it. You'll get better. They're not going to know. Cool. No problems, man.
Easy
Sign me
money.
the fuck up. So Pure Juice with Ray LaPon, a.k.a. Adam Rose.
Yeah, he was actually called Presley Jackson at that time.
Presley Jackson.
Which is also PJ.
Nice.
PJ, Pure Juice, PJ Black.
Smart. But even back then, you guys had psychology down.
I know.
Like, so how long was that together for?
That lasted for about 2 years, and then we kind of like feuded back and forth, and then I was like, when I moved to England and I didn't tell anybody, he was kind of mad, and then I gave him...
you broke up the PJs.
Yeah, and after about a year, I goes, "Hey, let's move to England. We'll start all over again here." I paid for his ticket, and he never came. He owed me that money. He needed some money. I gave him some more money. He never paid me back. And I was like, "You motherfucker." So we never spoke to each other ever again. You know, there was that money issue. And then when I got signed, he was like, oh, wow, okay, and now I'm going to start wrestling again. And 1 year later, he got signed.
Wow.
So he needed a place to stay.
Was the hatchet buried after that?
No, he moved in with me. I was like, hey, you still owe me like that $600, by the way. After like 5 or 6 years. I was
Did he pay it back?
No, he wanted 200 more. So I give him $200 because he just moved to this country, and a lot of people helped me out when I moved here and stuff like that. So and it took me about 6 months to get all the money. He probably still owes me a couple of $100, but I got like 400 or 500, and I was like, you know what, this is good enough. I'm gonna stop begging this guy for money.
You didn't charge interest. You're a good guy.
Exactly, and ever since then we're best friends again.
Good. I like to hear that because that E60 thing put him in a really good light. How did you get signed?
Okay.
It doesn't seem like they were scouting you in South Africa. Like, I know Regal has ties to England, but is there ties to South Africa? And how is South African wrestling? Because, like, your father was, I read up, like, your dad was an OG in South African wrestling, and I guess when he died, it died.
It pretty much died. There was a few other shows and promotions going on, and there was one guy doing really well. He screwed it up. Like, he could have had an amazing run. We had a short little TV deal for a while, so people knew PJ Black was. So what I did was I took all this footage and I made a little demo tape and I sent it to every single person at the WWE office I could find. I sent it to Hunter. I sent it to Vince, to Shane, to Stephanie. I sent it to Vince's secretary. I sent it to the guard. I made 100 copies and I just sent it to the office. I just wanted them to tell me, hey, listen, you're not good enough. Then I would quit. But I never got a response. I never got a response for anything. So one day I got a big paycheck, big gamble, long story. I got like 12 grand. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy a plane ticket to the U.S. So I buy this ticket to the U.S. No plan. I just rock up at FCW in Tampa, which is the developmental territory. At the time, Dr. Tom, he chases me away, and I just rock up at every show. I was like, can I have a shot? Can I have a shot? And he was just, nope. I guess something happened a couple of weeks before with Billy Gunn, where he was training with the guys, but he wasn't under contract, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, this place belongs to Steve Kern. You might want to talk to him, but he's on the road. So I sat in the parking lot for 2 days until Steve Kern rolled up. I knocked on his window.
Did you even know what he looked like?
Well, yeah, Frank Skinner, Steve Kern. So he parks in the parking lot. There was this red truck, and I just kind of like knocked on his window, and he's like kind of like taken back, but he rolls down the window. And before I could say anything, he goes, I know you. You're that guy from the jungle. Because on my 8x10, I stood in my backyard, and there was some weird tree in the background, and I guess it looked like a jungle. So he pulls me into his office, and he pulls out a box of all those 100 tapes that I sent. I guess all the people from the office sent it all down to him and said, hey, take a look at this kid and tell us what you think. But so he never got back to me, but since he recognized me, he let me stay there for a week. Let me try out. I did some promos with Dusty, did a couple of tryout matches, and then I flew home and then, got the call a while after that.
That is such a ballsy move, dude.
Oh, so ballsy. But ever since that, like, I tell people that, and people have tried it, and
it fails miserably. But I think there's a big difference. You have an amazing athleticism that I felt even in your time there didn't really highlight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning it now more with, like, your stuff at, House of Glory and a couple other indie territories that I'm actually seeing that you have such a versatile moveset, because all we were allowed to see was the one trick, which was the 450.
Yep.
And then you couldn't really do anything that I think you knew that you were capable of doing.
Exactly. And you can never show personality either. Like, you can, in a 3-minute match, it's kind of hard to show personality and show.
So the fact that you kept it kind of grassroots and you sent these tapes and he actually went to Skinner and then you showed up and you knock on his window and he rolls it down.
Yep.
Totally stunned. You have to give somebody credit for that. It's like, all right, well, you know what? You came this far. Let's give you a week. Go bump.
Oh, yeah, totally. And he pulled me into his office, too, and then it was Dr. Tom Pritchett, Dusty Rhodes.
Did you laugh at Tom? Like, ha-ha, I'm here.
Tom liked me from that day.
Okay,
he goes, good job for being so tenacious, or whatever. They pull his DVD out. They pop it into the DVD player, and they're like, hey, Dusty, come check this out. I did like a porn star gimmick at the time, and I do my whole entrance.
Was it PJ Black?
PJ Black, yeah, with a couple of girls and blah, blah, blah. And they watched the whole match, which I thought the match was great, right? And all they could say was, "Wow, that entrance and promo, that was great. We wish you could wrestle." But I was like, I don't care. I'll take it. I'll take it. So they gave me a shot, and I had a tryout match against Ted DiBiase Jr. And yeah.
What was the promo? What was it? Was it were you just like the South African version of Rick Rude?
No, I was.
Were you just kissing ladies and breaking hearts?
Like a version of that. Actually, in fact, it's somewhere on YouTube. I saw it the other day. Someone sent me the link. That exact promo is somewhere on YouTube. I'll see if I can find the link later. And
we're gonna do that.
Tweet it out.
We'll post it on EmilioSparks.com.
It's like. It was like something about being Man of Steel with sex appeal, just cheesy rhyming lines. It was so bad.
But it's
so
funny that's what they fixate on too, is the promo and the intro. So the intro, you had two bad bitches and you just walking in with them, and
I did a little routine with one. She did a backflip over my shoulders. I did I came down from the ceiling. It was kind of retarded, but kind of cool.
You're like the John Stamos of wrestling, man. All right, so now you're in. Now you sign. Is that it? You stayed, or did you have to go back and pack another bag, or this was it? You were in.
They didn't sign me on the spot, so when I went home, I didn't hear from them for a few months, and I kept calling them. I was like, "Hey, so what do you think? So what do you think?" The guy that I was dealing with, he got fired, so I was like, "Oh man, now I got to find a new guy to deal with."
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So I found another guy who knew nothing about wrestling, whatever. He was like, okay, I'm going to give you a shot. So he gave me a shot. But, like WWE, you got to pass all these fitness tests and drug tests and whatever. So I fly all the way from South Africa to Pittsburgh, which is 18 hours on a plane for one day for just a drug test. So I fly all the way over there, 18 hours with just a backpack. So now the TSA people pull me into this little room. Why do you get on that long flight with just a little overnight bag? Immediately they think I'm a drug mule. So they pull me into this little office. Don't find anything on me, obviously. I'm in Pittsburgh, do the drug test, the physical exam, whatever, fly back to South Africa. And it took them another few months for them to actually finalize my paperwork, which was cool, though, because I rocked up probably a year after that. The whole process took about a year. And then they gave me back pay because they started paying me since the day I got signed, which was great because that helped me, buy a cheap shitty little car just to get me from A to B, to get me to practice and some shows and, join a gym and stuff like that.
Now, where were you staying at the time?
Oh, another funny story. So a guy that was very hated at FCW at the time, he's very hated. He actually debuted on SmackDown and got released after that one promo. He was just one of those guys who did not give a shit, he would rock up to work wearing ripped jeans and flip-flops, and everyone would be like, "Hey man, you can't do that." And he's like, "What, am I gonna get fired?" And then he got fired. But anyway, so he was living in this house. We were good friends because I knew him from England. He was an English guy. He picked me up at the airport and he goes, "Oh, by the way, fella, I just got fired. So I'm moving to LA to try and become an actor. Here's my car keys. Everything I left at the house is yours." Drew me a little map on a napkin with a pencil. Now, I've never driven on this side of the road, by the way. All other countries, we drive on the other side of the road.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, I know. And he goes, here's my house, but it's not really my house. I'm renting it from somebody. Call him. This is the landlord. Call him and just tell him you're staying in his house. I was like, okay, that's a bit weird, but what other option do I have here? So I call the guy. Turns out this was Joe Gomez, who was a wrestler in the 80s, and he is like the unofficial mayor of Tampa. Now he's like one of my best friends. And if you ask any wrestler who's in WWE now, who is the most famous guy in Tampa, they'll tell you Joe Gomez. You need a mechanic, you call Joe Gomez. You need a lawyer, you call Joe Gomez. He's like just a really cool dude. And yeah, it turned out it was his house, so he let me stay there rent free until I could, he goes, "Just pay me whenever you want, little buddy." Which was great, and I felt bad. So whenever I got a check, I made sure I gave him some money, and I ended up staying with Brian Cage, who's a pretty big guy on the Indies right now.
Dude is massive too, by the way.
Yeah, literally.
Big guy.
Hell of a worker. We became tag team champions. He got released, blah, blah, blah. So we stayed in that house for a while, and he got released, and then I moved in with a girl at the time, which was great. And I just saved all the money I made with Nexus. Everything I didn't spend.
Oh, so this was Wow. Okay. Wait. Because I thought you stayed in the developmental for how long were you even in
I was there
developmental
for 10 months. I was very
And that's
lucky.
it?
That's it. Being in the right time, right place. This NXT season 1 thing came along, and I was on the list.
Because in one instrument they're saying, well, these promos cool, this intro's cool, but you're the drizzling shits.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the next minute, 10 months, you become like this dude,
Yeah.
and then they're like calling you up.
Well, what happened was NXT was supposed to be like a reality show, like a real reality show. They were going to put us all in a house. Kind of like the Legends house. They were going to put us in the house. We're going to like interact. They're going to follow us around, how we train, how we do promos, how we do go to the gym, but like a real reality show. Stuff was so unorganized. Like 2 days before, they were like, "Oh, we have no idea what we're going to do with the show," and they were going to go live, and we were like, "What the?" And then it turned out to just be another show, which was, a lot of people don't know this and they don't believe this. It was all unscripted. Like all the promos were unscripted. Matches we were given guidelines for got changed on the spot. All those challenges we did, all of that, everything was real. No one had any clue what was going on. Like matches we were thrown into, and
So were you uncomfortable doing that? Or was this, you just knew like this was, baptism under fire?
yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. I liked it.
Yeah.
Like even now in my matches, I like to kind of like just freestyle it and do whatever. I remember this one particular match. It was me and Matt Hardy versus CM Punk and Darren Young. And we were given 7 minutes for the match. My 450 over. It was live on TV. So I run my whole comeback. All I had to do was go for the 450 and pin him. And I see this look on the referee's face, and he goes, "This is coming straight from Vince. Listen to every word I'm saying right now." And he goes, "Hey, miss the 450. We're going to go to break and do 5 more minutes when we come back." So a break is a real break. It's 3 minutes. So now we're like rolling around in the ring for 3 minutes trying to figure out what we're going to do for 5 minutes.
Mr. 450.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that happened on season 1 of NXT. I think we fucked it up so bad that the second season was all scripted.
I don't think you guys fucked it up at all. I think, watching it and looking back, it was more, it had a richness to it because it was actually a real
It was
sense.
real. It was real.
It was a sense that it was like, wow, okay, this is real professional wrestling.
Yeah.
This is like the last great essence of what American pop culture is.
But at the same time, they made us look stupid so many different ways, so many times that, like if they gave us a heads up on the promo day, we could have been prepared. And,
at any point were you just like, fuck this? At any point, you're like, I don't want to do this. This isn't bad.
I was just going along with everything because I know everyone else was frustrated. And they actually made us change in broom closets too, which looking back now was insane. Like we weren't even allowed in the locker room.
Yeah.
But it was a fun time.
Was it intimidating to go out to such a large crowd? Especially that type of audience, which is an extremely casual audience.
See, at that time, I've been doing it for like 12, 13 years. And I've worked in front of some crazy crowds. I guess for the other guys, definitely, yeah.
After that, I watched the Raw where you guys invaded.
Yeah.
How far after that did that happen? Like, did you guys have to go back to FCW?
Yeah, we went back to FCW. We got called into work, and we got called into Vince's office, and we're like, oh, what are we going to do now? And he basically pitched this idea, and he was like, this is what I want you to do. And we were like, are you sure? He goes, yeah, destroy everything. Rip apart the ring. Like, if you can find something to burn it, like cut the ropes, rip the security guard's suit off, I'll pay for it. Like he said, go all out, and we're like, okay. So that was pretty cool. That was probably the coolest thing I've ever done. But in the same breath, like Daniel Bryan, when he choked the guy, he got released for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is too far? What wasn't too far?
But to me, as a fan who didn't know, like, I thought that was just like, all right, we're going to, just to spice it up a little bit, we're going to take you off TV. We're going to say we fired you. We're going to do what you got to do in the indies or whatever. And then we're going to bring you back.
Maybe. Like, no, we weren't told that.
Because it was so different. I've never seen what the ring looked like. And dude, you guys, it was total anarchy. And
so much fun.
Cena took the beating.
Yeah, he
took
did.
the ass whooping.
He did.
And it's very rare to see Superman get his ass kicked by cats that you really don't know their backstory to.
And I got to hit the 450 on him, and I was happy.
So when was that? With how far, but like before that? Because then you guys go right into main event at SummerSlam.
That whole angle started basically right after NXT. Yeah, it was kind of all like a blur. But we did all, the storyline thing we did where we all stuck up together and we kind of like surrounded all these legends. We kind of like lived it for a while. Like they sent us back down to FCW and we all just went into this office as a group and we're like, we're not coming back tomorrow. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but they kind of respected that. And then after that, the angle just took off.
Well, you can't go from doing what you did then to go back down.
Exactly.
No, because it would have toiled and the heat would have just been gone.
Exactly.
So to see you guys do that, that's another. Justin Gabriel, PJ Black, you have so many ballsy moves in your arsenal right now. Like, I'm so impressed with like just how your career has evolved and just even your personal life.
Yeah, wait till you have some personal life stuff.
Yeah, please, we'll get into that. So then it's the main event. It was kind of weird. You guys should have won. Did you guys fight for that or no?
We wanted to. We knew we had to, but we didn't know how to go about it. We didn't want to step on any toes.
You didn't pull the agent in to be like, listen, this is what we want to do. Did you sit down with like...
Kind of, we did that, but like Edge and Jericho was already doing that. So
Yeah.
we're like, okay, we're good. And the one guy, he was like, he refused. He didn't want to get it changed. But the next day, he apologized to Jericho and Edge. He apologized. He goes, you guys were right. We should have let them go over. And I felt like it was all just downhill from there.
You could have drew that to Survivor Series.
Easily. We could have drawn that to Mania.
I would have liked to have seen that at Mania.
That would have been
because you
awesome.
guys could have just wrecked shop. Because after that, it could have been this. Okay, well, we beat the top dogs,
Yeah.
and now we're the big dogs here.
Yeah.
Because at that time, Barrett was really good on the stick.
Oh, he was amazing. He was always good at it, And then that one promo he did on the huge
With the flowers.
exactly.
And it's like, yeah.
It came to him, and he was just instantly made. And he was always confident, and he was injured for like 8 months when I got there. So they put him in commentary and announcing, and so he got a lot of practice.
So then they give you you get some 3 tag team runs, and then vanish. Dude, you were doing some moves. You could work.
I know. At this point, there was a lot of backstage stuff maybe that came into play.
Did you just feel that you were just going to be a hand and that was it?
No, I never thought that. I kept trying and I kept pushing. I kept pitching storylines and I kept doing this. And Cody Rhodes was the IC champ at the time. I was going to get a big run against him. Some personal stuff happened with me and him, which I don't want to bring up right now. It's very, it's kind of messed up. We got into a little fist fight and
that exclusive.
that whole story just got K-botched. And ever since then, I was just downhill. Everything I did was wrong. Every time something happened, it was my fault.
Oh, you put your hands on the son of a construction worker. It's over.
So then I kind of just rolled with it for like a year. And I was like, okay, maybe he'll just wait it out.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to get a shot. 2 years went by.
Did they give you the whole spiel of you got to eat shit and like the taste?
Yeah, it's not directly, but yeah, basically. And they were like, hey, why don't you guys pitch storylines? I was like, I pitch storylines every week. Do you read them? What did you think of my storyline last week? Oh, I haven't read them yet. Oh, okay.
Like,
great.
what were you really focusing on that you wanted for your career and your direction with that after the whole Cody Rhodes thing got shut down?
I pitched a bunch of stuff. One thing that I worked on was the Darewolf character, which is Daredevil mixed with a werewolf. Because at the time, Twilight was big, and the kids on Twitter called me Cape Town Werewolf. And
so were you going to play a blind wrestler who, under a full moon, turned into a professional wrestling werewolf?
No, that would have been cool. It was more like an Evel Knievel kind of character.
Okay.
Just like all the stuff that I do in real life. Like
Yeah.
in real life, I do skydiving and base jumping and wingsuiting, and I ride motocross, and I was like, cool, I might as well use this.
Stuff that can kill you, pretty much.
Yeah. But that's fun. That's adrenaline stuff, adrenaline junkie stuff. And I filmed all this stuff on my GoPro in 4K, and I filmed some stuff in 3D, which we were going to use. We were going to play it on the Tron and make everyone if there's 20,000 people at Madison Square Garden, they all buy these WWE 3D goggles for $1, that's $20,000, and we can make them buy that every single night. That's an idea I had, and I filmed all these things, and it just never went anywhere. Vince loved it and Hunter didn't like it, and I picture this happen in the office. They were talking, hey, but what about this guy? What about this guy? I don't like him. I do, whatever. Too long on this guy, move on to the next guy. Because there's so many guys, I'm pretty sure they go through the list of every single guy. One day I was like, hey, Vince, let me show you how I wheelie my bike down the ramp and around the ring. He goes, cool, bring the bike next week. We were in a different state every week. I was like, how the fuck am I going to get my bike there? That's that's the world that he lives in, by the way.
Yeah.
So I look at our schedule, and we have a Tampa show coming up where I live. I was like, perfect. I'm going to take my bike there. I'm going to like wheel it all around the building. And I was like wheeling it in the, you know, the fan where the fans were standing. And I had like one of the, like, the internet guys like film everything just in case Vince wasn't going to come out and see. Vince had to leave early that day. And I went in, I knocked on Hunter's door. I was like, hey, please come check this out. Let me just show you what I can do. He's like, no, I'm busy, man. I'm busy. Because, you know, Vince is in here and blah, blah, blah. So no one got to see that, but I got to put some stuff on tape. So I started filming all the stuff. I started like me surfing barrels, me wakeboarding, doing flips on a wakeboard. I told myself how to do a backflip on a dirt bike, which I nearly fucking killed myself, but just to get the shot. So I got that on shot. And all these cool things of me being a daredevil and
a darewolf,
you know. And I sat in front of Vince's office every day for like a month until he would watch this video. So eventually he watches this video, and it's about 2-3 minutes of me just trying to kill myself doing all these crazy stunts. And there was one clip of me like juggling fire, and after like 2-3 minutes he just stands up and he looks at me and he goes, I didn't know you can juggle. I was like, cool, that's what you got out of that?
So the whole thing, you're like doing death-defying stunts.
Yep.
You're doing backflips on your motorcycle. You're flipping on, like, you know, surfboards. You're cliff jumping.
Wingsuiting, base jumping, like missing trees. Like
the backflip off the dirt bike, almost breaking your back. Yeah. And he comes, well, I didn't know you could juggle.
But that's him. I love him. He's a crazy genius, and he's freaking awesome. Like, he's like...
So was that like almost the point where you were like, I'm done? Or was it, because then I know you went down to NXT.
Yeah, so then I went down to NXT, then I worked on this character. Then I tried to make him a little bit more edgy, and then I tried to turn him into something else, and then I tried a few other things. And, you know, no one told me to go to NXT. I did this by myself.
Again, another ballsy move. Was it your mechanics? Were they saying, well, you're off about this, this, and this? Because
Hunter told me promos. So I went down there and I worked specifically on promos and character stuff, you know, like bringing out, like, it's because I have an accent. Maybe sometimes it's hard for people to understand me. I don't know. Then I went to see a speech coach just in case it was that. Then I got an acting coach, you know, like I went all out. I tried everything.
They flipped the bill for this, or is this coming out of your own pocket?
This is my own pocket. Like other guys, they flipped the bill for, but because they didn't tell me to go down there, I paid for everything myself. I did everything myself, and I tried, and I just kept trying. They have a promo room in NXT, which is great, and Dusty helped me out so much, and I couldn't even get booked on the NXT shows. So I was like, what the fuck? So this bunny thing comes along, so I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't really want to do it, but I'll do it.
Okay, so this is the whole Adam Rose thing now.
Yeah.
And now Ray's there, and you're like, hey, what's going on? You rekindle, blah, blah, blah. He pays back some of his debt.
Yep.
He's like this rock star character now, and then they were like, we have this.
Yeah. By the way, the boys in the back, everyone looked at that character and then looked at me and they're like, that is you in real life. Like, why is he playing this character on TV?
Thinking about it now and all these things that you're telling me, you really are like an Adam Rose. You know what I mean? Like PJ Black really is this
but that was
Russell Brandish. I just live life to the fullest every day of the week.
That was 5 years ago. I've kind of calmed down right now. You know, I like meditate a lot, skydive even more. But anyway, so this thing comes along, and I'm like, every time there's physicality, hey, would you mind doing the bunny? Okay, because I probably won't have a match tonight, so let me do it. So I do the bunny. One day we come up with the craziest idea. Adam Rose wants to go heel, right?
Okay.
So I picture this: Adam Rose as Marilyn Manson, Donnie Darko bunny, black bunny suit, evil-looking bunny. Like we had masks printed out for this. We had storylines written for weeks. We were both so passionate about this new music, and they were like, no, that's a little bit too dark. So I was like, okay, we'll still turn it into PG. And we had so many ideas, and that didn't go, you know. And then the Daryl thing was going nowhere, and this didn't go nowhere, and this was all things leading up to me going, fuck it, I'm out of here. Like I even had this one pitch where they were gonna reveal the bunny as, I don't even remember who it was, but I went in there and I was like, listen, it doesn't matter who the bunny is in the end. Nobody's gonna give a shit. Nobody. The only person it could be that it would make it exciting is Vince. And they were like, well, okay, well, tell us your pitch. So I go, imagine this. The bunny turns into this evil bunny, right? He becomes all like miserable. You see him backstage, like he's all dirty. There's like dried blood on him, smoking a cigar, drinking a martini. He's just miserable, you know, just hating life. But he becomes this hardcore bunny where he does like ladder matches, goes through tables. He always gets destroyed, but he always kind of gets up. And maybe the bunny gets knocked out backstage. They lift off the head, and it's Vince, because that would be the only thing that would make people go, "Holy shit!" Vince would kind of like wake up and go, "What happened?" Every time I put on this suit, I black out and I don't remember a thing. And
that is a really funky idea.
I thought that would have been hilarious. And then Vince was like, "Why would I do that?" And I was like, "Because you're a fucking crazy billionaire." Like,
because you were also the leader of the Ministry of Darkness, and you kidnapped and were about to sacrifice your own daughter.
Yeah, and everyone loved it. All the agents, producers, like everyone loved that storyline. They loved the pitch. Like I had this crazy mask. Like I can show you the drawings.
Yeah,
of it.
Please. I would love to see this.
And yeah, none of this came to fruition. And like it was just one day after the next, and nothing.
Did they put you with? Now is that when you finally worked with Kid, or no? Because then I made you guys wanted to be heels. And
this was in the beginning. This was way before that. So like even that, like we were doing great, and then I got injured, and then I came back, and then he got injured, and then they split us up and then it was funny because we were doing all these like rocker style matches on live events, and at TV they were going, we need a team like the Rockers from the 80s, and Fit was like, Michael, these kids have been doing it. Don't you read the reports or like watch the shows? And like, yeah, and that didn't happen. I don't know what it was.
So how was your temperament during all of this? Because you seem like to be a pretty positive person.
I am a pretty positive person. It's very hard for me to lose my temper. I don't often lose it. There's once or twice maybe I lost it. It was just frustrating more than anything because I tried really, really hard. Like there's so many guys backstage who just sit there and don't do a damn thing. Like everything, the writer will just come to them like, "Hey, I have this idea for you. Cool, yeah, I'll do it. Maybe I'll change this around." I literally worked my ass off. I went to NXT, I changed me. I changed everything about me. And then, it wasn't good enough. And I wasn't getting any younger. And I was like, fuck it.
Were you getting bitter? Because I would have been extremely bitter. Because I know me, and I'm in a similar predicament now, as we discussed before we started this. And, once you feel that your art is being handcuffed and you're not allowed to do what you could do, maybe necessarily better than some of the people that are getting the push.
Yep.
Whether or not it's radio or professional wrestling or even in the corporate world, if you know that you can do something to the best of your ability and you can really shine, but you're not getting that whole thing, then you feel handcuffed and you feel trapped.
Exactly.
Where you just come into work and it's just X, Y, and Z. It's lather, rinse, repeat, and I'm not really going to do anything.
Exactly. It became a job to me. And
it
was never a job. Ever since I was a little boy, that's what I wanted to do. And when it became a job, I was like, man, I need to do something to change this. And I tried so many different things. When I came up with all these storylines and pitches, and I tried everything I could, but I started hating it. I started becoming better. Not towards the company, and I mean, I'll always be grateful and thankful for all the friends I made there and all the opportunities they did give me. Maybe I fucked up a few of those opportunities, and maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but you can't look back and say that, whether or not you fucked up this, that, or the third. You have to just go with, okay, well, this is what I'm given, and this is what I have to make of the situation. Now, whether or not it becomes something obtainable or something of substance, that's on me.
So that's exactly what I did. I was one day. It wasn't like one thing that pushed me over the edge. It was a bunch of things.
What was it? It was like right before Rumble.
Yeah.
That was there anything specific, or you just knew? Okay, I know this is my fate for now. I'm going to ride out my contract, and whether and if they resign, they resign. Because that's every wrestler's dream, is to work for this company.
Exactly. It was my dream job. It was the hardest thing to quit. My dream job. I was going to quit a couple of months before that. But we had a trip coming up to Dubai, which I was very excited about because it's the best skydiving in the world. Then I set up for all the guys to go skydiving. I was trying to hold out till that date, and I don't even remember what happened. I think 4 TVs in a row I wasn't booked, right? Actually, the day we were in Austin, I went skydiving, and I came back, and no one even noticed I was gone. Only Seth Rollins. He saw the goggle marks on my face, and he's like, "Where did you go?" And they didn't have anything for me again. So this is 5, 6, 7 TVs in a row, not doing anything. And it's the worst. 12-hour day sitting there. If you're not doing anything, it's the worst freaking day in the world. You still get paid, but so what? I'd rather sit at home and not get paid. But anyway, so I was like, I'm going to book my own flight home. And on my flight home, they were like, "Oh, we got something for you." And I was like, you know what? Never mind. I quit.
And what was their response?
"We'll get in touch with you in a couple of days." Yeah. A couple of days went by. I thought the next day that I was I was going to regret it, but I felt good about it. I was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm going to do now, but this feels good. This feels good. And they never got back to me. Eventually, one of the talent agents came back to me and he was like, hey, Vince is not very happy about how you did this. Hunter said he's going to make it very hard for you if you ever want to come back, but Vince says maybe come back in a few years. So, yeah.
It's so weird how it's like two opposing figureheads running this company.
Yeah.
You have one guy who's the OG, and he's a little bit more sympathetic, and then you have somebody who's now younger, and and you would maybe he would understand a little more because there was a time when he had to eat shit and like the taste.
Yep.
So maybe he would understand, because there was times when creative had nothing for him.
Yeah, maybe,
So it's weird to me that, that sometimes the old man will have a more better understanding than the dude that was in the trenches for years with the boy suiting up doing what he does. See, it's not a world that I'm in. It's an interesting world that I follow. It's kind of similar to the music industry.
Yeah. And I have no resentment towards him. I know he didn't like me and didn't like my work. I pulled him aside one day at NXT and I was like, listen, I know you're not a fan of my work, but I'm going to win you over. He kind of looked at me and he was like, you know what? I like people that work hard and I like people that prove me wrong. So for 6 months, I went to NXT every day. And that's the period where I worked my ass off. I was like, cool, I'm going to show him how hard I work and I'm going to win him over. And I think I slowly did, but I just didn't. It didn't happen for me.
Yeah. Again, it's such a weird and insulated life that it has its own language and its own people, with a specific bunch. But again, it resonates to that feeling of people don't get it. And if they're not going to get it, they're not going to get it.
Yeah.
So then that was it. Did they FedEx you your release or what? What happened?
And this was another long story. So normally when you quit, you don't get your 90 days. If they release you, you still get paid for 90 days, but you're not allowed to do any appearances for 90 days. I wanted to wrestle, right? So I was like, no. The guy at Talent Relations was trying to babyface me. He was telling me oh, I'm going to try and get you 90 days. But I have friends in the legal department. The people in the legal department were like, hey, we're drawing up these papers for you to sign. I was like, oh, thank you. Thanks for the heads up. I got a ton of bookings. So they were like, oh shit, we better stop this guy from getting all these indie bookings. So they were like, okay, we're going to go ahead and pay you your 90 days. So you're not allowed to take any bookings. I called a lawyer myself. My dad studied law. So I just hit him with all these legal facts and acting like I knew what I was talking about, which I clearly didn't. So he goes, listen, calm down. Tell me what you want. So I go, I don't want my 90 days. Just cut me a check for whatever you guys owe me and let me just go my own way. So he goes, okay, I'll call you back in a few days. So eventually somehow got that done. They cut me a huge check for 90 days. And then I got another one 20 days later. I have no idea what that was for. I don't know if it was a mistake or whatever it was. They go, the only thing we ask is every time you get a booking, just let us know where you're working, and which I never did. I posted up all on my website, and it's been 5-6 months now, and only now have they gone after all those promoters. Apparently all those promoters are getting legal letters now. And I was like, oh cool, so at least I'm making waves, because if I wasn't, then they wouldn't care.
Well, you did make waves, because when you initially asked for your release and you quit, the internet really just took off with this, and there was so many speculations as to why, but you could look in your face on TV and then you could see, he was completely unhappy. And then when you were taken off TV, you just knew something was this is not a happy boy. And you look fucking relaxed now, man.
I'm so happy, dude.
You look like $1 million right now, man.
Thank you very much. I love what I'm doing right now. This is great. I'm my own boss. I pick my own bookings.
And it's not like you were
me.
And it's not like you weren't inundated to the indies. You grew up in this. You were an indie guy.
Yeah, definitely. But I never did the indies in the US.
Yeah.
So first I was scared, but now I'm so excited. Now I get to figure it out. I get to work. There's so much talent on the indies. It's unreal.
There's a lot, right? Isn't it cool?
Unreal.
So what happened? You got your release, and then what? The next week you had a booking? Or no, did it take a little time?
I think the Wednesday I quit. The Saturday I had a booking. PWS, New York. They told me not to because they wanted me to finalize the paperwork first.
And you just didn't give a shit?
Did not care. I was like, what are they going to do? Sue me? They can take everything they want from me. They ended up sending me this letter to sign to saying that I wouldn't use the Justin Gabriel character, the name, obviously. I mean, everyone knows that. But they also in the letter, they put stuff like, You cannot wear the gear. You cannot do the mannerisms in the ring, like all kinds of shit like that. And when I spoke to the lawyer, I was like, hey, what's this letter all about? He goes, no, don't worry. We just have to put that in there. I was like, okay, cool.
Thank you for the mannerisms that I've been probably walking around with for 30 some odd years of my life. That's what I've created.
Exactly.
So when did you get into the adventure stuff, the quote unquote adrenaline junkie? Was it because of the Darewolf character, or was it always something that you did? Because we spoke about, surfing.
So I grew up surfing, and I grew up riding motocross. Got my first bike when I was like 8. So I kind of grew up doing all this crazy stuff. In Florida, there's no surf at all. So one day I was like, I'm going to go try out the skydiving thing. And I just did one jump and I got hooked. And I was like, great, I have to film every skydive. This will be great for the character.
See, I get extremely nervous on planes still. And,
really?
And I go on a lot. But it's the whole, that ascension into the air thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do. But then once it's in the air and it's just there, like I'll fall asleep or whatever. But it's just sometimes like the bumps and stuff, because man's not supposed to fly. Yeah. Maybe you will say differently because you're in like one of these suits and you're flying like you're Evel Knievel or Johnny Utah in Point Break, like, you know what I mean? Like
new Point Break movie coming out Christmas Day, actually.
What do you think of that?
Pretty awesome. I have a bunch of my friends doing the stunts in it.
How come you weren't in it?
I was trying so hard to be Johnny Utah in that.
You so could have been Johnny Utah.
I so could have been Johnny Utah.
Like, as I was doing my homework on you, that trailer dropped, and I thought, this son of a bitch could so be like, you could have been Swayze too, bro.
I know. I know.
Like that scene when they drop the money out of the airplane and then they're flying down. I can envision that's something that you would do.
Totally. Like some of my friends did that actual scene.
Yeah. So those are your boys.
That's a cult classic. You can never remake a cult classic, but they went so far and beyond in this movie. It actually looks pretty freaking cool.
Are they still doing the president masks?
I'm not sure about that. That I didn't see any of that, but they do so much more than surfing and skydiving. There's like base jumping, there's snowboarding, there's like
everything that Justin,
everything that the
PJ
Darewolf
Black
does.
So you can't even use Darewolf anymore.
Okay, so what happened was Vince liked the name, so we trademarked it instantly, right? But we never used it on TV. So after 8 months, if they don't use it on TV, the case gets abandoned. Right, and I don't know how I came across it. I was Googling stuff, Googling names, how to trademark something, and I came across a government website, and I typed in Darewolf, and it said abandoned by the WWE. So I went to my lawyer the next day, the guy that helped Hulk Hogan, and tried to get the trademark for it. Paid a couple of grand, and it takes about 10 or 11 months, so we'll see. Since they did it first, they can kind of like oppose it. So I'm hoping, like, there was only 2 people who knew about it at the time, and ironically, they got fired. So hopefully, no one would know about this, and I can own that name.
I hope you get it because it really does fit you to a T. I've seen the Instagram, and I've seen certain things, and I think the Usos even posted one where you jumped off of like the cliff once, and I was like, this guy has balls like this to be doing that. Because again, I'm not into cliff jumping. I've watched enough Elvis Presley fun in Acapulco. I'm not jumping off cliffs, B.
That was the one in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
That was after his wedding. He was drunk, too. They were like, there's no way we're going to jump off this. Yeah. And when I jumped, he goes, man, now I got to jump.
So you had no fear of death?
Nah, not really.
Like the man without fear. You really are a daredevil. How many jumps have you done?
501.
So were you even nervous at first of 500, like the first one?
The first few was kind of like nervous because I didn't know what I was doing.
Did you have the dude strapped to your back?
No, I never did that. I went through an actual pilot school. I went through ground school where I jumped with 2 dudes holding by my arms, and they kind of like let me go so I can feel it.
How many months of study is that?
So you get good at stabilization, and then left turn, right turn, flip, left flip, right flip, front flip, whatever, and then they kind of like check it off on this thing, and then you kind of like go on to get your license. The guy was really cool. He let me do whatever I wanted, and like I kind of like figured it out. Within a month, I had a license where I could jump by myself. One of the scariest things was I sat through this whole ground school thing, and I knew everything. I knew every emergency procedure. I knew what to do when I landed in a tree or in water, or like how to roll or how to cut away the main one and pull the reserve. I knew everything, right? But once I pulled that parachute, I didn't know how to land the thing. I was like, oh, this is kind of important.
Shouldn't that be the first thing they teach you?
I was pretty sure they did, but I was too focused on the other things.
So what happened? Did you just fall hard?
No, I kind of like, when your life's on the line, you figure shit out quickly, man. Yeah. Like I I kind of like figured out quickly. I didn't do it everything perfectly right, but I didn't die and I didn't break my leg. So
well, no, that's a good thing because you're here.
And then I asked questions and I was like, hey, what does this thing do?
Was there ever any impending death? Like, were you about to die?
Twice.
And you're still doing it?
Almost, yeah.
Fuck that.
So I get this wingsuit, right? And there's different levels of wingsuiting. You get like, you have to build your way up to the Ferrari, which is the fastest one. The entry level one is it's just like a tiny little wings. You get like 2-3 minutes extra flight time. I don't even know what happened that day. I go to reach the pool and then there was nothing there. So I try to dig my hand into my back to try and reach this. It's like a little hacky sack which you pull out, which pulls out the main parachute. And I couldn't reach it, but I was dropping my wing at the same time, so I was spinning out of control. And I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do? And I see a little church down there, and I was like, okay, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna hit that church, so at least this could be on the news and people can remember me. So I was aiming for this church, and I have no idea. Like in my mind, I was ready to go. But by my body somehow, my left hand grabbed my reserve handle, and I pulled my reserve. The reserve is at the top, and the main is at the bottom. Normally, you have to cut away the main before you can pull the reserve. I don't know why, but I just pulled the reserve and both of them just popped out. I landed next to the church, just enough time to roll. It was like an old age home. All these people were sitting on the porch, and they just kind of like looked up, like,
hi, I'm Jesus.
The guy in a red squirrel suit.
They probably thought, is that Jesus?
I was like 2 miles into town to.
Would you have to hitchhike back?
Hitch a ride back.
Dude, you are a wild boy, man. I can only imagine how it is when I want to go pick up chicks with you, man. Like, let's be each other's wingman. Like, we could say that we've done some like really crazy shit, and I'll just be like, yeah, we did. I'll be like, yeah. I mean, we fucking. Oh my god, you ever go like dune buggying in Dubai? We did that. Like,
spelunking. That's a good one.
What the fuck is splunking?
Cliff jumping, basically, but in the dark at night, so you can't see shit.
Oh, we're telling bitches that we did that together. Like, yo, yeah, we splunked, no homo pause. Like, you know, because you got to do that, like, especially if it's in New York, because they don't know what splunking's gonna be. Like, you know what I mean? But we did that, no homo pause, and you just let's do it. We're hanging out tonight. We're going. We're just gonna pick up chicks. I'm down.
Let's do it.
I'm down. Let's just do it. Be like, hey, baby. I base jumped off Niagara Falls. Suck it! It's on my Instagram. So are you big into the gram? Like the Instagram and the Twitter? Do you do that or no?
I do, like, because WWE made us do it, but I kind of got addicted to it, and now I post a lot of the crazy stuff that I do on there because no one believes me, so I go check it out. It's there.
So what else is the most craziest thing that you've done? Because I sense that there's more. Like, share, open up here. Let's talk about personal life now. Like, life. I want to know how you got the 12 grand.
Oh, I started gambling. I hope my mom doesn't hear this.
Is that just
my mom's a very Christian lady. She won't appreciate that.
Is that just as an adrenaline rush as doing action stuff?
So I met this guy who's a professional poker player, and he's trying to get into wrestling. So I'm trying to teach him some stuff, and he taught me some poker stuff. He won a couple million at the World Series, lost it in 3 days, bought 2 Ferraris, legally changed his name to Johnny Ferrari. But anyway, so we've been playing all these poker tournaments and stuff. It's not gambling when you're winning.
Yeah, no.
But I seem to be down a lot more than I'm up. But
you really do live the life of Riley here, cause like for real, because I would never do that. Like, but hey,
the World Series this year is $20 million.
Are you gonna enter it?
Someone's gonna win it. Hell yeah, I'm gonna enter it.
I'll go and hang out.
Just go to Vegas for the week, hang out.
If it's on your dime, I'm down, bro.
Oh man, they'll pay for my room. You know, like because my Twitter and Instagram is
has that verified check.
Verified check. I just send them some tweets for the hotels and the World Series, whatever, and they give me free rolls sometimes.
Now, would you do any skydiving in Vegas?
They actually have 2 skydiving spots. I would love to jump from one of the hotels.
Could we do this then? And this is how we're gonna be. This is it, and I get it. This is gonna be the perfect Instagram video, and we'll bring up Brian Excel for this, the whole 9. Yeah, we wear Elvis Presley jumpsuits, like with a flying fucking Elvises in honeymoon to Vegas, right?
Right.
And we jump off this thing right into like something like with like hopefully like the Bunny Ranch.
I love
with like with those like hot hookers.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I'll let you guys do it.
No, you got to jump with us though.
No, I'll jump.
Yeah.
When it comes to the bunny, I was just.
All right, well, you can just bankroll it then.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
And then we
And
just go
we're
down there.
we're definitely gonna get caught, so we'll make sure we'll have an 8-ball in our pockets too, just for added effect.
This is my type of party from Jump Street. Let's just keep it Gucci. This is it. Let's do it. You got long hair. I got long hair. You got a beard. I got a beard.
I just gotta teach you how to skydive, man.
I'll do it.
Hey, first lessons tomorrow morning, 8:00.
Hey, listen,
Be
bro.
there.
We'll trade fucking emails and tweets, and we'll go back and forth. I'm down to skydive. I've never tried it.
I was
I'll
just
do it.
talking to him.
You'd love it.
I want to do that too.
Yeah.
We should just go to Tampa to skydive.
I
Like,
will-
legit though. Like we get some plane tickets and me and you go over there. We meet PJ and we just
I'm-
skydive.
Bro, you guys can stay at my house. I have 3 guest bedrooms that hardly ever get
That's
used.
even
They're
better.
open.
That's even better.
That's even
I will
better.
skydive.
I would love to skydive.
You know,
Seriously, though,
I don't
legit.
mind that. I've never done anything adventurous like that. You know, I've never been the type of guy to just be like, okay, I'm going to jump off that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
I
you
never
should.
did that.
You should. You might surprise yourself.
Yeah.
I think I want to. I want to
wanna
live,
do that
man.
too, yeah.
Can you show me how to live?
Dude,
Because
that-
I want to feel more adrenaline.
That's my motto in life, man.
Like I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about parachuting in an Elvis Presley costume into the bunny branch with an 8-ball of coke, and I don't even do coke. Like, and I don't even do coke.
It's okay. It's never too late to start.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. What better way to do it than with 2 of your buddies?
Right?
Except for Brian XL, he's not going to do the coke.
Right before you jump off a building.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Hashtag dare to live.
Yeah, hashtag Darewolves. Yeah, dude. We can start an internet web series just called Darewolves.
Oh, dude, I'm busy doing some stuff. All that footage I have that I filmed for WWE.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I own all this. So I'm like, I open up a YouTube account and I'm slowly starting to put
it up.
some stuff just to see.
That's dope.
Yeah. I have some really cool stuff that I'm not sure how legal stuff works on that stuff.
You'll
so
figure it out.
yeah, I'll figure it out.
Well, man, I can tell you straight out that you do have this relaxed demeanor, and that really does show. And I'm so glad that you're doing it your way. It seems like you were always one of those guys that would do it his way. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you could just keep on doing that, man, like, God bless. Just keep on going.
Oh man, I love this. I love what I'm doing right now.
Just start rocking a man bun, and the chicks will just be like, he is a daredevil man bun wearing son of a bitch.
You know what I almost did last week, actually?
What, the man bun?
This might be the stupidest thing ever, but I put my house on the market. I have about 5 motorcycles. I was going to sell every single thing I have.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to travel the world with just my parachute and just go jump at random places and just be a fucking hippie.
Could you be a hippie, though?
I could totally be a hippie, but I still want to entertain people. I still want to wrestle.
So
and
could you pick up spot dates here and there and just sleep on people's couches?
That'll be freaking awesome. I might just do that.
Just live the life of like a nomad.
Yeah.
Just a traveling, parachuting professional wrestler.
That's all I need is someone to follow me around with a GoPro. We post that shit on YouTube, you know.
I will leave here and do this journey with you.
Are you in?
I am in. I've been into like New York, New Jersey, California. It's pretty much I haven't really had a whole bunch of
What?
You know,
this
like-
country's so beautiful. I've wrestled in 48 states.
well, yeah, listen, I didn't. So I take a Staten Island ferry to work every day. If you want to see the ferry,
Well, it's about time you start living, my friend.
Man, just talking to you now is making me want to just do something. I'm going to jump off something.
Awesome. I'm stoked. If I can inspire one person, I'm happy.
I'm going to start small. Like maybe I'll like jump off like a little fountain thing that like lands like 2 feet like down, and then I'll just do other stuff.
Jump off the ferry tomorrow and then swim.
I'm not in that water, bro. That shit's just too toxic, B. Like, I'll grow I'll grow like some dorsal fins and a third eye, and I'll be like cursing you underneath my breath. Like, I wouldn't even want you to do that. You know what I mean? I think the wildest thing that I'll do is I'll tell a girl, eat 12 morning after pills and let's just go and let's see what happens. All right, baby. The only space between you and me is possibility. Let's do this. You know what I mean?
Why even risk that?
Huh?
Why even risk that?
Let me tell you something. That's a thrill, my friend. Like that's the one vice that I enjoy is just always doing that shit like that. You know what I mean? Like cutters. Like I'm only those weird chicks. Man.
I feel
like,
ya.
Them suicide girls or whatever. Like.
Yep.
But okay. So houseofgloryonline.com.
Yes.
PJBlack.com. For more information on him, go there, buy some merch, support this dude because this is how he makes his living. My buddy Brian XL, that's how he makes his living as well. He puts on these super, super duper cards, and a lot of people are doing it. A lot of good fanfare, so please support that guy. PJ, thank you, brother. I
No,
appreciate
thank you.